It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's Good Friday, everybody. I know that Easter was more than a month ago, but this is the best Friday ever. After 30 years of pain, 30 years of hurt, Liverpool are finally back on their perch. This is ZiFM Sport on a Friday. We celebrate Liverpool being crowned champions in England for the 19th time. And of course, pulling away as far as the trophy count is concerned with their arch rivals, Manchester United. My name is Mike Madoda, and joining me on the show this evening, we've got Chris Gray, Manchester United supporter, salty. Alois Bunjira, Manchester United supporter, salty. Barry Benaldi, celebrating.
Yes.
How does it feel, Baz? How does it feel?
It feels magical. It was very emotional last night, I must say. I've loved this club since I was knee high to a short dog, and to finally get back onto the greatness, because this isn't like about winning the title so much. It's about the last 3 years where we could see the trajectory of the club taking its rightful place. It's been phenomenal to watch, and so very emotional last night, and I'm absolutely cock-a-hoop.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that's all going to be coming up in the beautiful game that's in the second half of the show. So it's one that you can look forward to, especially if you're a Liverpool fan. And we just want to pay tribute to the likes of TK Tonderai Katsande, one of our presenters here at ZiFM. He's on the Ignition, the breakfast show. Mark Pozzo, one of our own at ZiFM Sport. Manfred Chaniwa from Zimoko. Max Karombo at Delta Beverages. Peter Ndlovu, Mamelodi Sundowns manager, and of course, a big Liverpool fan. Becky Yoni, the chairman of the Zimbabwe Soccer Coaches Association. Desmond Maringwa, Dynamo's legend, and of course, a big Liverpool fan.
Norman Mapeza.
Norman Mapeza as well. Come on, the list is endless. They are all celebrating this evening as Liverpool celebrate. Well, that's not the only thing that you got on the show today. On the home front, Ngezi Platinum Stars have joined forces with frontline teams in fighting the spread of COVID-19 by donating protective equipment in both Mondoro Ngezi and Chegutu districts. And then we've got international sport, where we continue with Super Rugby Aotearoa, which is heading into round 3 this weekend. And All Blacks captain Sam Cane will make his return from injury when the Waikato Chiefs take on the Canterbury Crusaders on Sunday.
And when we're done being salty, we'll also take you around the world in 60, where we take off in Connecticut. World number 1 Rory McIlroy believes it would have been silly to cancel this week's Travelers Championship and has praised the PGA Tour's handling of the coronavirus situation. In Manchester, West Indies captain Jason Holder maintained a watching brief as the Tour's 3-day intra-squad match at Old Trafford ended with half-centuries from Shane Mosley, Shane Dorich, Shamar Brooks, and in London, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury must still agree on a mountain of terms, but no obstacles should stand in the way of the world's title fight, says promoter Frank Warren.
Needless to say, our power play and our play of the day have a championship feel about them, celebrating, of course, that great win by a Liverpool Football Club. We'll dive into the beautiful game. The lead story is obvious. We kick off in the Premier League, where Jurgen Klopp described guiding Liverpool to their first league title in 30 years as more than he ever thought possible. In La Liga, Barcelona, a string of difficult fixtures continues. The Catalans travel to Galicia to face an informed Celta Vigo side tomorrow. And in Serie A, Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus hosts struggling Lecce, looking to take advantage of a midweek slip-up by nearest challengers Lazio and move 7 points clear at the top. In the Bundesliga, another epic season draws to a close with the last round of fixtures for the 2019-2020 season tomorrow. Michael, what are you laughing at? You're celebrating all on your own there.
No, I'm just laughing at Lazio's midweek slip. I mean, Prophet Alois Munjira.
I told you guys. I told you. I know he's coming.
He'll be saying, I told you so, and he's done exactly that.
Indeed, but what has been resolved is what is in England, and they are now champions in England. This is Kerry Underwood. It's featuring Ludacris. It's called The Champion.
The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis. From Rufaro to Barberfield, Mandava to Nyamunga, all the perfect moments in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League come together on ZiFM Sport.
Don't forget, you can always interact with us on social media, Facebook and Twitter. Follow and interact with the at ZiFM Sport, or in our individual capacities at Christine Midzi, at Sean Tafirinika, at Gazaman14, at Barry Menandi, and at Mike Madoda. You can also search for Mark Pozzo. He's very active on social media. Now, news from the home front is that his Platinum Stars have joined forces with frontline teams in fighting the spread of COVID-19 by donating protective equipment to both Mondorongezi and Chegutu districts. As of yesterday, the country had recorded over 530 positive cases of COVID-19, and Ngezi Platinum Stars, as the football team from the province, have decided to play their part. The club appreciates all the frontline healthcare workers for their selfless service to humanity, bravery and courage at the forefront of the pandemic struggle. This is what they said in a statement. Ngezi hope that the protective equipment will keep healthcare workers safe while responding to the pandemic. Let's hear from Platinum Stars CEO Nyasha Kadenge.
Today, Ngezi Platinum Stars Football Club is extending a donation of protective equipment to both Mondorongezi and Chegutu districts. There is still a lot of uncertainty with the pandemic, but we have been challenged to take a stand and to find ways of adapting to the changing environment. In times like these, we are reminded of how interconnected we all are. The club appreciates all the frontline health workers for their selfless service to humanity, bravery, and courage at the forefront of this pandemic struggle. We hope that the protective equipment will keep our health care workers safe while responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. Our donation today comprises foot pedal-powered hand-washing stations, surgical masks, a knapsack sprayer, detergents and hand sanitizer. We hope that this donation will go some way in assisting the district. As a community-oriented club, we strive to listen to the needs of the community and make an effort to position ourselves in a manner that serves the community. We are committed to serving the communities in the best way we know how. More than ever, we need solidarity and hope to see this crisis through together.
Chris, let me start with you. Nyasha Kadenge, they're coming out, and of course, Ngezi Platinum Stars are making those donations in their province, Mashonaland West, in Chegutu, as well as Mondorongezi, which are the two districts in truth where the team is based. And it's good to see one of our well-heeled, moneyed corporate teams playing their part in the community. And we've seen very little of this over the course of the last 100 days in Zimbabwe.
Definitely, and it's great to see a team that's going into the actual community that they live in and actually trying to make a difference. As someone from Mondorongezi, I can tell you that these aren't random sporadic things that they do. I think Ngezi Platinum actually does a good job in terms of donating and participating in the community. So they've donated a number of things that I think are extremely useful: foot pedal, hand washing stations, surgical masks, detergents, hand sanitizer, all really critical. And in areas like Mondorongezi, you might find that they don't necessarily get these things, be it from actual, for example, the ministry, and it's really out there basically in the Bundu. So good on them for actually reaching out into their community and making a difference.
Barry, and one could say, hey, listen, the COVID-19 pandemic or the lockdown has been in effect for over 100 days now, but we're beginning to see a surge in the numbers. So this donation from Ngezi Platinum Stars in those communities, timely.
Absolutely timely. And we say timely, and it's only because we want to be absolutely precise. But in truth, it's never too late. The COVID-19 pandemic is with us for a while, at least until the end of the year, possibly until this time next year. So all of this support is going to have to continue coming through. And for Ngezi Platinum Stars to basically roll up their sleeves and get involved in the community just shows, and is also an opportunity for them to demonstrate that they are part of that community. So we're thankful for it. And hopefully the other clubs as well, whatever they can do. I know you said at the top of this story that the well-heeled clubs, but even the ones that aren't well-heeled, every little bit counts. So whatever any of our clubs can do, any of our organizations can do, is truly appreciated.
Absolutely. Alois, as a former player, this is something definitely that I'm sure you will be clapping your hands for, because this is a club realizing that they are more than just a football team. It's more than just about existing for the weekends when you play and the results that you give to your community, but you can also be a part of that community by being involved in their day-to-day lives.
Of course, Mike. This is actually a great initiative, a great gesture by the Ngezi Platinum team. You know, they are part of the community. You see, like Chris said, you know, they've done a lot already. It's not just about this COVID donation that they've done, which is actually quite good. You know, I visited Mondoro Ngezi a long time ago. It was like the Bundu that Christine has said, but right now, if you go back there, it's not really the Bundu that it was. You know, you can actually see that there's some developments that are also going on there, and you know, we appreciate it as a country, development in the country. So for me, I think this is what clubs should do. Football clubs should do. They should be leading in front, you know, doing community service. It's not just about being money. You know, let's say a club like Cape Town or a club like Dynamo. It's their muscle, it's their name that can actually push. They can do an initiative. They say, we are cleaning up at Maremusika as Dynamos. They don't have to have the money themselves, but their pool is what is important. You know, that they lead because everybody loves them. That's what makes them bigger. You know, if you just sit there and you don't do nothing, you don't use your power, you know, you don't get that much respect that you're supposed to get. So I think that they should be at the forefront, do things for their community. Every club, Triangle in Triangle, Mutare City in Mutare, they should be up there so that, you know, when corporates see what you are doing good for the community, now they want to team up with you. This is also another way that you can also get partnerships by being seen to be community conscious. You see what is needed to be done in the community. So I say hands up, and clap hands to Ngezi Platinum. They've actually led the way. They've shown other clubs that this is what you need to do wherever you are in your community.
Absolutely, and I know, Chris, you've always been a big one, or you've been a bit of a critic in terms of recruiting the next generation of fans by teams in the Council of the Premier Soccer League. And these are the initiatives that endear teams, isn't it, to the community and to fans, and people start gravitating towards teams, and Ngezi Platinum Stars have taken the first step.
Definitely. And it's great to see that it's a women-led team leading the rest of the PSL teams to actually be making a difference in the country. But I think it's that clubs forget that football is more than just about the 90 minutes. It's an emotional thing. It's about passion. It's about that emotional connection. And once someone makes that emotional connection to a football club, it's incredibly difficult to sever that. And this is part of the process of doing that, is someone being able to remember, when there was no equipment, when there was no hand sanitizer, these are the people who came through and assisted us. And when that day comes, when that person is supposed to spend on a particular club, these are some of the things that come to mind, and that brand affinity is not easy to resolve.
Absolutely. So kudos to Ngezi Platinum Stars for that timely donation of protective equipment and, of course, other things to fight COVID-19 in Mondoro Ngezi and Chegutu districts. This is ZiFM Sport on a Friday. Good Friday, we've called it. Liverpool, champions of England. That's all in the second half of the show. But before we get there, we'll give you a local sports news roundup, and then we'll kick off a Super Rugby Ataro, where there's a big game on Sunday. It's the Chiefs taking on the Canterbury Crusaders.
Hi, this is Alexandra Maseko, and I'm the national basketball team captain, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Z.
Let's dive into that local sports news roundup, starting with cricket, where Zimbabwe Cricket's limited over skipper Chamuchi Baba is hoping the remainder of the 2020 international cricket calendar, especially the tour to Australia, will not be affected by the coronavirus pandemic. The Chevrons, who have already lost out on a big opportunity to play giants India, are scheduled to host Afghanistan for 5 T20 internationals and then travel to Australia for 3 one-day internationals in August. But both series are still to be confirmed. We move over to news of baseball, where Zimbabwe under-18 baseball coach Shepard Sibanda says there can be no shortcuts to improving standards of the game except investing in junior structures. Sibanda was supposed to lead the national side on a tour of Cape Town, South Africa in March, but that trip was cancelled due to the COVID-19 lockdown. This was also the first time that Zimbabwe had assembled an under-18 baseball side. The team had already started preparations for the tour by holding a camp at Hamilton High School before that was abandoned after all sports were suspended virtually worldwide. Meanwhile, while there is celebration by Liverpool fans locally, a dark cloud hangs over local football fraternity when yesterday the news came through that Dynamo's assistant coach, Biggie Zuze, had died. Zuze passed away at a private hospital in Harare after complaining of breathing problems since morning. Funeral arrangements are yet to be confirmed. During his playing career, Zuze was renowned for his attacking prowess in midfield, where he formed a formidable partnership with some of Dynamos' most gifted stars, such as David Yogi Mandigora, Clayton Munemo, and Memory Mwendamberi Mchirahoa. Here on ZiFM Sport, we say, may his soul rest in peace.
Hi, this is Mike Madoda, and you can catch me and the team for all the latest breaking news out of the world of sport, local as well as international, on your favorite station, my station, your station, ZiFM. We are Z-Team on ZiFM Sport.
Z. From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
All right, now All Blacks captain Sam Cane will make his return from injury when the Chiefs take on the Crusaders on Sunday. A back injury kept Cane out of the Chiefs' first 2 matches of the Super Rugby Aotearoa, and coach Warren Gatland said his experience would be a welcome boost. The Chiefs lost their first 2 games and face a daunting visit to Christchurch, where the Crusaders are unbeaten against Super Rugby opposition since 2016. They have also won 17 of their last 19 games against New Zealand sides, although those 2 losses have been to the Chiefs. And they have, but it's just a stat attack, isn't it, Mike? In truth, if you look at the form of these sides, it's a mismatch.
Yeah, the 2 matches they've lost, Barry, they've lost to the Chiefs in Dunedin and in Canterbury. You'll find out that the Crusaders are virtually unbeatable. And it's a tough ask. I know Seb Cane brings a wealth of experience, and he'll make a big difference because at the breakdown and also with ball in hand, he's a battering ram. He's a physical player, and he brings in as well leadership. But in terms of just the all-round game, the Canterbury Crusaders have got the balance. You know, they can play a power game with their forwards. They've also got the skill set in the back line, and they've got that wealth of experience that comes from having so many All Blacks in their ranks. So I can't see anything beyond a Canterbury Crusaders win in this game. And I think the Chiefs, Barry, will be praying for a miracle for them to qualify for that final of Super Rugby Aotearoa.
Yeah, and indeed, if they lose this game, which is likely, Chris, chances are that that's out the window. And you've got to think about it, as Mike is pointing out, the number of All Blacks out there. Indeed, the Crusaders themselves have named an unchanged matchday squad for this game. You think to yourself, it's almost one-way traffic. Rugby is a funny old game, but in this one, I think you'd be a brave man to bet on the Chiefs.
Definitely, and we've seen the Chiefs in the last 2 games that they've been faltering. They haven't been at their best, and those are the games where we should have seen the Chiefs winning. And to come into this match with the Crusaders off the back of those 2 losses, I think already put them at a disadvantage. And like you're saying, the Crusaders naming that unchanged match squad already puts something into their minds that, you know what, this squad is solid. They know exactly what they're going to do, and the formula is working, so they're not going to change it. The Chiefs have a lot to work on. Sam Cane coming on is going to help a little bit, and I think at this point what they're looking for is to almost try not to be too embarrassed at the end of this particular match.
All right, but before we get to that big game on Sundays, there's a small matter of the Blues unbeaten after the first 2 rounds of the Aotearoa tournament, having named an unchanged side for their next encounter against the Highlanders. The only change made by coach Liam McDonald is on the bench, where England international Joe Merchant has been included in his final game before returning to Harlequins in London. Highlanders coach Aaron Major has unsurprisingly kept faith with most of the team that scored an upset win over the Chiefs in round 1 of Aotearoa, but there's a change at fullback as the franchise continues to search for a permanent replacement for the long-serving All Black, the Super Ben Smith.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We take off in Connecticut, where world number 1 Rory McIlroy believes it would have been silly to cancel this week's Travelers Championship and has praised the PGA Tour's handling of the coronavirus situation. Cameron Champ and 2 caddies tested positive for COVID-19 ahead of the event at TPC River Highlands, following on from Nick Watney's test and subsequent withdrawal at the RBC Heritage. Webb Simpson and Chase Koepka also withdrew as a precaution after coming into contact with people who had coronavirus. Although McIlroy, who posted an opening round 63 in Connecticut, believes the decision to go ahead with this week's tournament was the right one. We head over to Manchester, where West Indies captain Jason Holder maintained a watching brief as the Tourist 3-day intra-squad match at Old Trafford ended with half-centuries from Shane Mosley, Shane Dowrich and Shamar Brooks. Holder, who has been working back from an ankle niggle, decided to bowl himself once again despite taking the field in the morning session and did not bat in his team's second innings. That means the all-rounder's time in the middle has been restricted to a golden duck on Wednesday afternoon, though head coach Phil Simmons says that was always the plan for this match. We touched down in London, where Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury must still agree a mountain of terms, but no obstacles should stand in the way of the world title fight, says promoter Frank Warren. Britain's world heavyweight champions have agreed financial terms in principle on a 2-fight deal for 2021, although Fury's UK promoter Warren insists that various contractual details remain to be finalized before the blockbuster battles are confirmed.
Hi, I'm Warriors coach Zdravko Logarušić, and you are listening to ZiFM Sport.
Sports with a difference. Z. The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudent. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
Jurgen Klopp has described guiding Liverpool to their first league title in 30 years as more than he ever thought possible. The Reds were confirmed as Premier League champions without kicking a ball, as Manchester City's 2-1 defeat at Chelsea meant they could no longer be caught. Liverpool are 23 points clear with 7 games remaining. Klopp says it's pure joy to coach this Liverpool side after they claimed the Premier League title.
No, unfortunately, I have no words. It's unbelievable. It's much more than I ever thought what would be possible. Becoming chairman with this club is absolutely incredible. Knowing how much Kenny supported us, it's for you as well, Kenny. You had to wait another 30 years that your club can win it. It's for Stevie, who had to wait a long time, and now it's for all, because this all is built on your soul, Kenny, on the legs of Stevie, and the boys admire you, and it is easy for me to motivate the team because of our great history, and so it's just it's unbelievable. It was really tense, the 95 or 100 minutes of the City game. Can you imagine? I didn't want to be involved really. But obviously, when you watch it and you are involved, and then you hope, and then the big chances Chelsea had, penalty situation, all that stuff. So it was quite intense. But it is an incredible achievement of my players. What they did over the last 2-3 years is just exceptional, and a pure joy for me to coach them.
So Klopp's side, who thrashed Crystal Palace 4-0 on Wednesday evening, have now sealed their first Premier League crown with 7 games still to play. The obvious takeoff point for me is Barry Menandi, long-suffering Liverpool supporter. You have been one since you were knee-high. How satisfying, Barry, is it that Liverpool not only wins the title, but has broken a long-standing record? This is the earliest that the title has been won, and it's with 7 games to go.
Extremely satisfying, and it's almost as if it was scripted somewhere up there, because in truth, if there was a way to win a league title and break the 30-year hoodoo, it wasn't sort of to sneak over the line, to creep through it and finally get it done, albeit that Liverpool fans would have accepted that. I think it was to show that Liverpool was back. I mean, we all supported Liverpool mainly because of the 80s, where Liverpool was very dominant in cups, in league triumphs as well. And to see the club getting back to that level is extremely satisfying. So this one, not only the breaking of a jinx, but also the start, hopefully, of very good things to come.
And now Liverpool have enjoyed a stunning season that has seen them beaten just once in the league so far. And that was a shocking 3-0 defeat to struggling Watford. That was back in February. In fact, Liverpool have lost just 2 league games, Alois, in the last 2 seasons. And I think that's what underlines their dominance in England.
Yeah, of course, Mike. I think this league championship has been won on the back of consistency. You know, when you look at it, when Jurgen Klopp took over, you could actually see when he started that he was building this club. You know, I think the last pieces of this puzzle were brought in when he brought in Alisson and Van Dijk. I think that was the master stroke. Once they had those 2, Liverpool was stable. You could actually see the improvement. Last season they lost by a whisker. You know, they took Man City all the way down to the wire, and record-breaking point, and they were up there. So what they did this time around, they maintained that same consistency. They even improved on it. When Manchester City was going down after that fantastic season, Liverpool maintained their consistency, and they kept on going. And people might tend to forget that Liverpool actually won the Champions League last season, and they finished at number 2. So that was actually another glory year for Liverpool, and this is another glory. So this has been like 3 years of great football from Liverpool, and they kept on improving. And the beauty of it, they've been improving not by bringing in the top stars of the world, but by improving as a team. You know, he knew which players he wanted for the system that he wanted, and he was spot on. Jurgen Klopp was spot on. That was fantastic. And all this I credit to Jurgen Klopp, because he came with a mission, and he actually asked for 4 years, and he got the 4 years, and he started the success in 3 years. And now the 4th year, he has won the championship for Liverpool. And that is brilliant. And also many thanks to Bruce Grobbelaar as well. You know what he did.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. And talking about Jurgen Klopp and Bruce Grobbelaar, while the former Warriors and Liverpool legend believes that Jurgen Klopp is legendary manager Bill Shankly reincarnated in a German body. Let's hear from the jungleman, Bruce Grobbelaar.
Nothing has thrown us off the scent of this victory that we needed so much. And you've said it all. Klopp is one of those managers that will be going down in history. I've likened him to a Shankly reincarnation in a German body. That's how good this man is. This is how the manager works. He got everybody together, go to the hotel there in Formby just to watch him, just in case we do actually lift the title, and which we did. Jurgen is a charismatic chap. He's just brilliant. He gets the fans, he gets the people of Liverpool. He has got a witty sense of humour, and for him to get all the players all together, they probably had a few drinks, which he doesn't like during the season. but he will get them rallied up again. We've got a game coming up, the second against City, at City. Listen, we know that the 100-point mark can be done this season. I think that Jurgen will do that. He'll get the players to play as hard and as we can all season. The big thing is, at Anfield, we haven't lost yet this season. So here we go. We got to go unbeaten right through the season at Anfield.
Jurgen Klopp arriving at Anfield in October 2015 following the sacking of Brendan Rodgers. And Chris, you've got to say that Jurgen Klopp has been central to everything that Liverpool has achieved, especially over the last 2 seasons. Alo is pointing out to the fact that Liverpool are not just Premiership champions at the moment, they are the European champions as well as the world champions.
Absolutely. And that dominance comes, I think, as a result of what Alois mentioned, the fact that he hasn't managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4 good players only. He's managed to build an actual team and to build a system. And you can see it in the way that he relates to the players, in the way in which the players relate to each other, and in their approach, the way that they speak about Liverpool. I think he's managed to build a group of people who genuinely care about each other and about the game, and they're passionate about Liverpool, not just from a football perspective, but the fans as well, the fans who contribute to exactly what this team is. And I think that reverence for the club as a whole is what he's managed to instill in those players. And this win for him, absolutely incredible.
Barry, one of the key things that Klopp has managed to do, like Chris is pointing out, is to build a unit, to build Liverpool into a unit, both on and off the field. And you take a look at how he's done it. It hasn't just been about bringing in the choice pieces of Alisson Becker for a world record fee, Virgil van Dijk for a world record fee, but he's also brought in players that other teams would not have gone for and turned them into world-class stars. You take a look at Gini Wijnaldum, relegated with Newcastle United. You take a look at Andy Robertson, relegated with Hull. In fact, Gary Neville said that he didn't think that Andy Robertson was good enough to be a Premiership fullback. He's now the best left back in world football. Trent Alexander-Arnold promoted from the youth team and given a chance at Liverpool. So there are also those stories where Liverpool isn't just about buying good players, but it's also about developing players and then fusing them together into a winning machine.
Well, certainly you can add the Sadio Manes of this world and all sorts. It's all worked out very, very well for Liverpool in terms of creation of that unit. And some people, including myself, and I'll put my hand up here, were a little bit skeptical when Jurgen Klopp didn't spend in the summer transfer window.
Yes, you were.
I was.
And give me credit for telling you guys that it didn't matter.
You certainly did. And in truth, I think we were being a bit myopic and thinking in football terms rather than looking at what was there and seeing the wood for the trees, because this is a team that had finished 1 point behind Manchester City. Manchester City, who had blitzkrieged the league since the arrival of Pep Guardiola, barring that first season of his. So to see that the club was that good, to see that the team was that good, Jurgen Klopp had a fantastic eye. Net spend was like 7 million or something after the ins and the outs at Liverpool, positive 7 million. So this is a guy who has had the business nous to keep the club solvent and buzzing. But on the field of play, on the green grass where it matters, he's begun to collect trophies. You pointed out, Champions League, World Cup, Club Cup, the European Super Cup, now the league trophy. So this is the beginning of the green shoots that we saw 3 years ago.
Well, the man who's going to be given that trophy and who's going to hoist it high above his head is Jordan Henderson. Much maligned, much criticized. Another one who was told that he was not good enough to be a Premier League footballer, much less the captain of Liverpool. Well, we've spoken to him, at least Sean has, and he says he's proud of what his Liverpool side has achieved and that it's amazing to finally get over the line.
Yeah, amazing. I didn't want to talk about it until this moment, so it's amazing to finally get over the line. I'm so happy for all the boys, the fans, the whole club, the city. Just a little bit overwhelmed right now. It's just amazing feeling. Like I say, I'm just so proud of what we've achieved. When we won the Champions League, it was on the pitch and there's a lot of emotion, but it was a different experience watching the game. And then obviously the final whistle going and being able to be with everyone, staff and everyone together was amazing, really. And another moment in our lives that we'll never forget. To be honest, I'm just lost for words at the minute. It hasn't really sunk in. You never really think of this end moment. You're just always concentrating on each game, and then when this moment comes, it's just I can't really describe it.
Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson speaking there, and Alois, Jordan Henderson, one of the standout players for Liverpool. He is a player that you don't associate with skill, you don't associate with goals or creativity, but he's really been the glue that's held the Liverpool midfield together. And it's not surprising that when people talk about the English Premier League Player of the Year, that Jordan Henderson is leading in almost every poll.
Yes, Mike, he is one of those players. He is not silky, he's not glamorous. He just goes in there, he does his job, and he does his job very well. He hardly makes mistakes. And, the number one attribute that I can see when he is playing is his motivational ability. He makes the team play. He lifts up the other players. When he sees another player down, he is quick to actually go talk to the player, and he is quick to defend his own players. When there's an altercation against opposition, he's the first one to arrive to protect the other player. It actually builds a team spirit like that, and that's the one thing that I really like about him. He has got this love for his teammates. That's you can actually watch and see. And then he does his job, like we say. He holds the team together. When he is not there, you can actually see the wall that Henderson is not there. So for me, I'm not surprised that people are talking about him winning the Player of the Year, and the sentiment as well. I think on sentiment he is going to win it, because usually people look at attacking players, the glamorous ones, the stylish ones, and right now people are now talking about Henderson, and over and above all the characteristics that I have spoken about, I think sentiment will favor him and he's going to win it. And the fact that he's going to be on that podium lifting that trophy, to feel like he is the man. So it's well deserved if he gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, a testament to his importance in that Liverpool midfield is the fact that he leads the stats at Liverpool as far as most tackles is concerned, having made 50. Now, Chris, let's take a look at Liverpool's brilliance by numbers. This is a team that's right now sitting on top of the perch, 7 games to go, still 21 points to play for, meaning that Liverpool can smash that 100-point barrier that was set by Manchester City. Where do you place this Liverpool side in terms of the greatest sides that English football has ever seen?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Pretty close to the top, if not the top. And I think that's also because their dominance and their consistency over the last, I'm going to say, 16 months or so has been incredible. I think the thing about this win is that it's undeniable. You can be as salty as you like, but you can't deny how good Liverpool has been. And even to compare them to past Liverpool sides and the last Liverpool side to win the league, they've done almost the impossible, I would think, in terms of just how they've managed to play it out. And you can't hate on them. If I was to place them in terms of EPL, I don't know if we're talking specifically EPL here, but just for EPL teams ever, pretty close to the top. I think only the that Arsenal team of the Invincibles. Yeah. I think they're the only ones that would top them, but only for that they went unbeaten. If Liverpool had gone unbeaten, then 100% they would be the top team.
Okay, so Chris says somewhere near the top, Barry, as far as Liverpool is concerned. And the thing about Liverpool's dominance, and I agree with Chris, is that no matter how salty you are, no matter how much of a hater you are, you cannot deny the fact that Liverpool has blown the opposition right out of the water. It hasn't even been close. We're not talking about 2 or 3 points here. We're talking about a 23-point gap at the moment between them and the team that's in second place. Your thoughts, Barry, on the legacy of this team? And it's a legacy they're still building, but when you take a look at the last 24 months in isolation, where does this leave Liverpool?
Where it leaves Liverpool, and I think if we look at the last 24 months, I think this Liverpool side is probably one of the best that we've seen. And I'm saying one of because there are three sides that come to mind. Obviously, Chris has mentioned the Invincibles. You look at the Man City Centurions, and you look at this Liverpool side. Each of those teams has one thing in common, a golden thread that links them all, and that is that they change the game. This Liverpool side has changed the game for intensity, for the team camaraderie, the team element, the fact that they are a machine, and then obviously the individual brilliance where you can go right through the lineup from those fullbacks, the centre half, the goalkeeper, you go into midfield, you go into the front three. You can see brilliance right across the pitch. Entertainment value right up there. The only thing right now, let's give them another season, okay? But in truth, this team has the potential of being the best to ever do it.
Alois, talking about the future now, which are the areas that you think, you know what, if Liverpool has got a weakness and they need to improve, this is the area. If Liverpool want to dominate for the next few years, like Barry said earlier on, which are the areas you think they need to invest in, if at all, to improve and to dominate?
Yeah, I think Liverpool, they've been fantastic over the past two seasons. You know, it's very difficult to actually pinpoint areas where you think they need to improve. You know, you remember past 3 years, it was the goalkeeping department was very bad. You know, they lost a lot of games through the goalkeeper. They did that. They plugged that gap. Then the centre back position, they plugged that gap. And you know, when you look at it, I think the centre back, they want to partner Van Dijk. It hasn't been stable, you know, at all. They have been changing partners for Van Dijk. So we really haven't seen the partnership that we say this has gone the whole season as the partnership. Like in most title-winning teams, you would know that this is the partnership.
Isn't it a function of injury, though, Alois? Because with Joe Gomez, Liverpool are yet to lose a match when he's played with Van Dijk. And I think it's now 38 matches they've played together and they have never lost. So is it not a function of they've never been able to have that stability because of injuries?
Yeah, probably that. That's why I was saying that we haven't really seen that this is the partnership that has been consistent, be it by injury or whatever it is. But the fullbacks, they've been fantastic. Going forward, the midfielders has been fantastic. It was unfortunate that Liverpool lost Coutinho. I wish if he had stayed, Liverpool could have been even better than they are right now. And going forward, up front, it has been perfect. You know, for me, they've worked together in tandem. Where I can actually feel that probably maybe Liverpool may need a different striker, not because the strikers that they have got are not good, but to change the direction and dimension of the game should things don't go their way, the way they are playing. Because right now the three are nippy. They might just need a striker that can change the game. Let's say maybe things are tough. You might just want to change the tactic so that you can attack differently. For me, I think that's the only place that I can say they need to change, not because they're not good, but to just have depth. To just have that depth to play around. You know what? We can't play this way. We can go through the wingers and cross that ball. You know, they've got wing players that can cross that ball, but they don't have the finishers with their head. They can actually do well with a striker that can finish off those crosses from Alexander-Arnold and Robinson. So that's the only place that I can say that they need to add up. Otherwise, they are fantastic. Edge still on their side. They are a future team too.
Absolutely, the team to beat. Now let's take a look at last night's results out of the Premier League. Burnley beating Watford 1-0. Watford in all sorts of trouble. Relegation staring them in the face. Southampton beaten at home by by Arsenal 2-0. Welcome respite for the Gooders. A Premier League fixture that's on this weekend. Aston Villa will take on Wolves in a Midlands derby. And then it's the FA Cup quarterfinals this weekend. Norwich welcome Manchester United to the East Coast. The Blades, Sheffield United versus Arsenal. Leicester versus Chelsea. And up at St. James's Park on Tyneside, it's Newcastle who welcome the former champions, Manchester City. And looking at the way that those fixtures are sort of like split, Chris, there's a real possibility we could have a blockbuster semi-final lineup that could see Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man City.
Definitely, and we could see them fighting it out. I think looking specifically at those teams, these are teams that are desperate to win some sort of silverware this season, so it's going to be tasty.
Your La Liga weekend fixture: Sevilla hosts Real Valladolid. Athletic Club of Bilbao entertain Mallorca. Osasuna versus Leganes. It's Atletico Madrid who take on Alaves. Levante welcome Real Betis, while Villarreal take on Valencia. Granada versus Aiba. And the top of the table, Real Madrid travel to Barcelona, but not to take on Barcelona, to take on Espanyol. And Barcelona themselves, well, their string of difficult fixtures continues as the Catalans travel to Galicia to face an informed Celta Vigo side tomorrow. Barcelona bounced back against a rigid Athletic Club side at the Camp Nou earlier this week as substitutes Ivan Rakitic and Ricky Puig and Ansu Fati inspired the side to a narrow 1-0 victory. So we'll see if Barcelona can keep pace and continue to put pressure on Real Madrid until the bitter end of the season. Real Madrid themselves, tricky encounter against Espanyol.
Your Serie A fixtures: Brescia taking on Genoa, Cagliari versus Torino, Lazio will be up against Fiorentina, AC Milan will be against Roma, Napoli versus Spal, Sampdoria versus Bologna, Sassuolo against Hellas Verona, Udinese versus Atalanta, and Parma versus Inter Milan. The big one, Juventus versus Lecce, and Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus host struggling Lecce tonight, looking to take advantage of a midweek slip-up by nearest challengers Lazio and move 7 points clear at the top of Serie A. The 8-time reigning champions bounced back from their Italian Cup final defeat at the hands of Napoli and were the only one of the top 3 in Italy to win in the league this week with a 2-0 victory in Bologna on Monday. Looks like Juventus might still have a hand on this thing.
Absolutely, Chris. They are certainly the team to beat. And we'll wrap it up with news out of Germany, where your fixtures are looking something like this. Remember, it's already decided Bayern Munich crowned champions and Borussia Dortmund guaranteed second place. But what's up for grabs are the Champions League places. Union Berlin versus Fortuna Düsseldorf, Bayer Leverkusen versus Mainz, Leverkusen needing all 3 points, Borussia Dortmund versus Hoffenheim, Borussia Mönchengladbach also need 3 points in their quest for Champions League football when they entertain Hertha Berlin, Eintracht Frankfurt versus Paderborn, Augsburg, they welcome Red Bull Leipzig. Leipzig looking also to gate crash the Champions League party if they grab all 3 points. Freiburg versus Schalke or Fear. Werder Bremen versus Cologne. Wolfsburg versus Bayern Munich. Of course, Bayern Munich already preparing for an assault on the Champions League, where hopefully, if they also win the Pokal, they can secure an incredible treble.
The party continues for Liverpool fans, while here in Zimbabwe, we celebrate the life of the legend.
Campione, ole, 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 campione, yes, campione, ole, ole, ole.
Congratulations, guys. Liverpool has done well the past 2 seasons. I think this is just good. You know, they deserve it, deservedly so. And I just have a feeling that they are going to be dominating English football for some few more years to come.
Alois, just like the 3-piece suit that you're wearing on the show today, you're an absolute gentleman. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for listening to the show. We obviously commiserate and mourn with the Biggie Zuze family. But here on ZiFM Sport, we say to you, may God richly bless you. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Menandi. Out.
And it's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
The biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.